Hey guys and girls, welcome back. My name is Mars and this is Burlington. Last week we made this cool, neat little marina, and this week I've got another big project for you. This time we're building a university, and we're actually putting in this suburb at the back here, in this actual whole area here. I clear out the whole thing and place the whole thing down. Now I actually had a couple different ideas of where I was going to originally place my university. I ended up settling on this area just because it sort of worked better. Originally it was actually placed over here, but it just didn't quite fit in the suburb quite right, and I just couldn't quite make it work. Like, the buildings are actually really big, and they're really hard to find the space for them. So I found that they just fit in this area back over here a little bit better, and it works out quite well. We do have a highway connection right here, which is really nice, and there is a train line that connects right here as well. I do have this cool little stadium nearby, which is kind of fitting for the university, and there's also an on and off ramp access to this highway over here as well, which is pretty neat. So without further ado, let's jump into the time lapse and let's get cracking. Alright, so like every other build, I have the problem of having to destroy an entire suburb and pretty much just delete everything. So as you can see, I started just bulldozing individually, and then I thought, oh bugger it, I'm just going to use the move it mod, and I just select everything and just delete. Works a lot faster, and I had to remove all the roads as well. So when it actually comes to the end, normally I do that really cool sort of blend of before and afters, and I only do that once because there's such a massive change between like the old to the new that it's really no point. Like, you know, I can't really show how much that changes because it's just so dramatic. Like, you wouldn't even recognize anything from the previous build to the old build. So as per usual with the universities, of course you have to start with actually zoning the university, so that's what I did first. And when it came down to it, I wasn't actually really sure of how to build a university. Like, it's these pieces aren't, you know, that forthcoming. Like, they just sort of, you know, just random buildings that you kind of got to place in, and you can easily just like waste so much space. Like, I could take up half this map of just university if I wanted to. Like, there's just, these buildings are so big, and you want to make it so big and grand, but you know, I'm not really, you know, have that much space available, so it's not really something I wanted to do. And I want to keep it nice and you know, small and compact as well. So I did take it actually a very large area, big suburb. And these are those big buildings I was talking about. You have these three massive, huge facilities, I think for the science and for the legal and for the medical. And they're massive buildings, and they're really hard to sort of fit in. So I sort of kind of started with those a little bit, and especially with these two central buildings as well. This is the building where they actually do all the ceremonies and actually get their you know, graduations and stuff like that. So I wanted that to be very central. So I started with those first and kind of just worked my way out. So if you actually go through all of the university buildings, yeah, I'm sort of just cycling through them and just going, okay, this fits here, that fits there, and I end up moving a lot of stuff around. And I actually, in hindsight, built a little sort of bus depot that you'll actually see in the time lapse at the end. I don't actually build it in this time lapse. You see it, sorry, in the cinematics at the end. I actually show you that bus station there, so that's pretty cool how it came out. I was quite happy with that. So what I'm doing now is, as I said, I'm just going through all of the buildings, and I'm just sort of like plopping them down. I'm just sort of filling in the space where they kind of fit. Most universities are kind of built that way. They sort of like evolve and progress, kind of like the city themselves, and very much like this as well. You kind of came across the same sort of way. So yeah, so pretty much what I'm doing is just going through the whole lot and just placing them where they fit, really. There wasn't any sort of plan or structure to it. I did try to sort of space it out as much as possible, and then I did put all of the like residential buildings around, like the dormitories where all the students can stay. I sort of littered them around the campus, so you can sort of stay on the outskirts and sort of work your way in. And then any sort of space I had after that, I just kind of filled in with just a few other random apartments and stuff like that, because a lot of universities will actually have like privatized like residential buildings and stuff like that in the local area, just specifically for students. Then anything else I had, I just sort of filled in with car parks and whatnot, because you get like staff car parks and you know, student car parks and all that sort of thing. So as you can see here, like, I'm trying to get these massive buildings in, and they just did not want to fit anywhere. So I'm just sort of deleting and moving and adjusting streets, and you know, coming up with like really crazy little sort of triangular sort of parks and stuff like that, just to sort of fill in the gaps, because the space itself isn't very square as it is. It's kind of a big trapezoid shape that I had to start off with. So it wasn't exactly probably the bestest spot to start off with. But I mean, I kind of want, it makes it a lot more interesting. You know, I didn't just want this big square, you know, university where everything's just sort of like a grid shape. That's kind of boring. So this does kind of come out a little bit more interesting. And I'm actually quite happy with the way it came out. Like, it's not super lush or super green or anything like that. I do sort of fill in the spaces with trees, and but it's not like over the top, like beautiful or anything. But as per every other video that I've mentioned, you know, I'm not trying to go for like a super highly detailed look. You know, my computer is already struggling as it is, trying to load up the city and trying to get it to run smoothly. So pretty much, yeah, like I'm kind of forced to just sort of roll with what I can do. As you can see here, I'm just sort of like trying to place some things in and whatnot, and just make it look pretty. Like, I'm like, oh cool, yeah, I'll chuck a fountain here. Like, no, I don't like it. And same thing here, like I'm just sort of filling in the gaps of trees and whatnot, because that's pretty much all I could really do. But once again, I was quite happy with the way it all came out. It was, you know, it actually looks like it actually feels like a proper university by the end of it. You know, I sort of have like actually defined all the boundaries here with these like little hedges, and just sort of like adding a bit more details to these big grand entrances to these buildings on actual main roads, just to make it look a little bit neater and a bit tidier. And yeah, it actually looks pretty good by the end of it. So here I'm just outlining the border with hedges just to sort of tie the whole thing into place. And then I just fill in all the extra spaces and stuff with trees and whatnot, because there is a lot of green spaces and stuff around universities. But all those ones that are sort of built into the sort of city areas, like this one is, like this is built in the middle of the suburbs. They generally find that they're quite, short on space. You know, so they've got to use their space very, very wisely. It's very, very expensive, obviously, to have that much open space. So there's a lot of small little parks tucked in here and there between all the big buildings. And as I was saying earlier, like these are some of just the generic apartment buildings that are just sort of chucked in around the area. These are just like cheap student accommodations you could imagine that have just been privatized in just the local area. And this whole area down here, like originally, zoned it by itself, and I was like, they kind of worked out. Like those shops down that main road, they kind of did stay there, but in the end, I actually end up zoning that back corner into car parking. So here you can see this is what it was looking like beforehand, and there's actually a massive improvement as it changes completely. So other than the train line and the highways, like all of the streets are completely different, and it looks really, really good. Like I quite like it. It's got a big central building in the middle and everything sort of built around it. It's got lots of trees, a lot of greenery, and it just looks fantastic. Like, it looks like it's been there for ages, and it looks like it was originally designed, and the city sort of evolved around it, which is really, really great. And I'm actually really, really happy with the way it came out. So yeah, as you can see down this end, those are the car parks just down there by the highway. I rezoned that whole area. I moved a few things around to fit the building. And this is the little bus depot I made in the middle. I'm actually quite happy with this. I pretty much just grabbed all of the bus lines that were just coming past the university, and I just add an extra stop into them, all on the same bus stop. So they all come in. You can see you've got a little yellow line, there's a blue line, and there's another intercity line as well. And there's also this train station here, which is now super popular because this is how most people come and go out of the university, which is really, really handy as well, because it just stops right almost in the middle of the university and keeps going through. Like it's almost like it was designed that way, you know? So I'm really happy with that too. thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate any comments or any suggestions or anything you guys might have. Once again, hit that like button. It does really help me. If you don't like the video, hit the don't like button. I don't care. Anything does help me there. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe as well. And other than that, I guess I will see you next Friday.
Toga, 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 toga.